I'm Craig Kenneth, a relationship coach and a psychotherapist. Every relationship is different and every breakup is different. Work with me and you'll get professional help on your situation. And if you're in no contact, focused on personal growth, my creative healing course is filled with hours of exclusive content. Available now at AskCraig.net. Hi there, I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
I'm Coach Margaret.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And today we're going to be talking about family dynamics and parental choice for partners. Well, Margaret has come across some interesting research on how parents and family really interfere a lot more in breakups than you realize.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And so often you may think that they are on your side and they're an ally, but unconsciously they may have been sabotaging things.
Absolutely right.
So what do we got today, Margaret?
Okay. So I start by saying we've discussed the cultural and historic reasons why families may expect to choose their children's partners, and there certainly are historic reasons. Now let's look at the family dynamics. The fear of not being needed motivates many controlling parents. Okay? Now this little being desperately needed you when you were born, and the rest of their life has been a slow process of separating from you. And for some people, some parents, it's very difficult. Okay? So much of a controlling parent's identity is tied up in the parental role. All right?
Okay.
So I see myself as a mother, a grandmother, a father, a grandfather, kind of everybody's one of my kids. So that parents can get so tied up in the parental role that he or she feels betrayed and abandoned when the children become independent and no longer need them. Mm-hmm. Okay? Now, they don't plan this. They don't normally do it on purpose. But sometimes they have to be reminded that they're doing it. Okay?
And I can also see how parents could see the child in the role of the child for the entirety of their life.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, talk to my mom about that, because that's how she was.
Yeah.
She still thought I was a kindergartner.
Oh, sure. Oh, my mother did.
Because she was a kindergarten teacher,
Yeah.
so
Wow,
Yeah. That absolutely happens.
maybe she was right.
On the inside.
I just realized that.
I'm going to give you a couple of case examples. Now, these are somewhat extreme, but believe me, you'll get the message. And I'm quoting the book, Toxic Parents. Michael, a young man from Boston, moved to California to go to school and eventually found work there. While he was there, he met a woman he loved very much, married her, and settled down. Remember, he's from Boston. He's now in California. When it occurred to his mother that he really wasn't coming back, she began to put on the pressure to bring him back home. Okay? The worst incident, he said, was about a year after the wedding. He should be grateful he got that far. We were planning to go out to Boston, that means his wife and he, for my folks' anniversary party, when my wife came down with a horrible flu. She was really sick, and I didn't want to just leave her. So I called my mother to cancel. The first thing my mother did was burst into tears. Then she told me, if you don't come for our anniversary, I'm going to die. Poor Michael. I caved in and flew to Boston, arriving the morning of the party. Right off the plane, my parents started in that I should stay for the whole week. I didn't say yes or no, but I left the next morning. A day later, I got a call from my father saying, you are killing your mother.
Oh, jeez.
Okay? She was up all night crying. I'm afraid she's going to have a stroke.
Wow.
Okay?
Talk about the guilt and manipulation.
Oh my God, this is one of the best ever. Michael said to his therapist, what the hell do they want me to do? Divorce my wife and come back to Boston and move into my old room? Let me help you, Michael. Yes, that's exactly what they had in mind.
Probably.
Yeah. When asked by the therapist if his parents had ever accepted his wife, Michael became very angry and said, "No way. Whenever they call, they never ask how she is. In fact, they don't even mention her. It's like they're trying to pretend she does not exist." He acknowledged that he had never stood up to his parents about this and said every time my wife would get clobbered by my parents, I'd expect her to take it. When she complained, I would ask her to be understanding. God, was I an idiot? Good boy, Michael. My parents are slugging away at my wife, and I just keep letting them hurt her. Michael has come in for therapy because his wife of 6 years is about to leave him because of the tug of war between her and his parents. Okay, so you can see exactly how that worked. And of course the child, Michael, in this case, is in a terrible position. All right? We're told from the cradle, honor your father and your mother, take care of your parents, do all of those things. And so it's very guilt-provoking, and these people are skilled at it.
Yeah.
They're pros. You're going to kill me, you're killing your mother. So he's in a terrible position. Okay, we'll move on to Kim. Kim felt that she was very loved by her dad when she was little. But when I started to have a mind of my own, she said, he couldn't handle it. He had screaming fits if I dared to disagree with him. He would call me terrible names. He was really loud and scary. When I was a teenager, he started using money to keep me in line. Sometimes he'd be incredibly generous, which made me feel really loved and safe. But other times he would humiliate me by making me beg and cry for anything from movie money to school books.
Wow.
I was never sure what my crimes were. I just knew I spent a lot of time trying to figure out how to please him. It was never the same 2 days in a row. He kept making it tougher, so he kept her completely off balance. Okay?
And so I would think she was attracted to a guy who did the same thing to her.
Of course. But I mean, she, in an unpredictable world, that can make you crazy. I mean, when you can't predict what's going to happen around you.
Yeah.
When I grew up, I encouraged my husband to go to work for my father. What a mistake that was. Now he really had us under his thumb. Everything had to be done his way, from choosing an apartment to toilet training the kids. And like I say, I have seen some of the worst boundary violations on earth around grandparents and grandchildren. Okay? He made Jim's life, must be the husband, a living hell at work. So Jim finally quit. My father saw this as another example of Jim's worthlessness, even though he promptly got another job. My father really laid into me about that and threatened to stop helping us, but then did a complete turnaround, and for Christmas he bought me a new car. When he handed me the keys, he said, "Don't you wish your husband was rich like me?" Okay?
Wow.
In other words, he's no good, he's not as good as I am. What are you doing with him?
Yeah.
Wow.
Right?
Then you take those keys and they make your life miserable.
Absolutely, yeah. And certainly this is not the only parent that we've known to use money as a means of control.
Sounds like a bribe.
Oh, at least, yeah, it's a bribe, followed by a guilt trip. This woman has written another book called Emotional Blackmail, which I will invest in very soon, okay? But it sounds really almost like emotional blackmail.
Yeah.
In other words, let me give you a car, but wait a minute, there are visible strings hanging from it, okay?
Wow.
Now, I've given you a couple of dramatic examples, and much of what we see isn't quite this dramatic, but you certainly see what we're saying, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that I will often ask people, you know, I'll just say, your girlfriend's family, oh, they love me. What makes you think that? Well, they were always glad to see me, and they give me a cup of tea, and they invite me to this, and they invite me to that. In the meantime, the parents are telling the girl, we don't like him.
Yeah.
He's this, that, and that. And we want this, and that for our grandchildren.
And even if they don't believe it's true, those things that they're saying about you,
Absolutely.
it's just so they can get what they want.
Right.
And manipulate the situation.
And if these people have raised you, then you have a tendency to believe it, no matter how hard you try not to.
Yeah.
Okay? And so you're put in a bind where you really can't proceed with your own life because they're controlling you.
Mm-hmm. Or they could try to suck your partner in too. We had a situation like that recently where a family was quite enmeshed, and instead of letting the daughter go off with the boyfriend and, get married and have her own life, they tried to suck the boyfriend into the family too to care for their needs, because this guy had kind of caretaker qualities.
Right, and didn't they suck him into the family business?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So then he was stuck too.
Was it noodles?
Yeah, probably the noodle factory. For those of you who remember the story about the noodle factory, I'll be happy to do that one again. Yeah, that would be a perfect setup, wouldn't it? In other words, you can bring somebody home to the family, but you can't leave.
Exactly.
You can have a relationship as long as they play the game our way and by our rules.
Exactly.
Okay. But the really painful part of this is how difficult it is for people to stand up to it.
Mm-hmm.
And let me tell you that this woman got a lot of heat for writing a book called Toxic Parents. Oh my God, how can you say that about parents? How can you say that about anybody's parents? This is terrible. So I think she rearranged her language a little bit. But now we talk without any second thought about toxic narcissists. Okay? So it depends on being toxic. So I think everybody's sort of awe and reverence for their parents comes up in this whole thing. Okay? And there's always honor your father and your mother. And I often think that the rest of that sentence is no matter what they may have done to you.
Wow.
Okay? Yeah. And I'm not the first one to make that observation. There's a very famous woman named Alice Miller, whom this woman puts in her bibliography, and I see where it came from. And she wrote extensively about honor thy father and thy mother and how it makes therapy almost impossible sometimes. Because nobody's saying be disrespectful to them or hurtful to them or destructive to them, but sometimes you have to tell them how it is. So this is the end of the second section of this presentation, but cheer up, there will be a third one.
Oh, so hopefully you liked it, because Margaret did a lot of research on these.
I did.
And of course, when you want to get our help for your situation, just go to my website, askcraig.net. Sign up for the coaching option that works best for you. I do email coaching and I do Skype. Margaret is available for Skype coaching.
If you feel that I can be helpful to you, please sign up.
Just click on Margaret on the top of the website to do that. And of course, Coach Victoria is still training with us.
I'll be here.
And you'll continue to see her in the videos until she does coaching in the future. But that's it for this video. I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
I'm Coach Margaret.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And we will talk with you soon. To get my help personally, go to askcraig.net and click on Schedule Coaching and choose the option that works best for you. I do email coaching or Skype. To schedule a coaching with Margaret, click on Margaret on the top of the page and order a Skype with her. For the Knowledge Creative Healing course, click on the link at the top of the page and click Get Started Now.